Hi, so welcome to the second week of the Owl's Magical Readathon. As always, I will leave some links down below if you don't know what's going on with this readathon. But basically, I'm trying to become an alchemist, which means I need to read 12 books for this readathon this month. Last week I did manage to read 2 books for the readathon, but I also read several books that weren't for the readathon. This week we're going to try and do a bit better. So firstly, I have these 2 books to read. Uzumaki is for my arithmancy, to read a book in a genre I don't usually read. So this is like a horror manga. So far I'm absolutely loving it. I'm about 200 pages in, so I'll be continuing with that, which I'm really excited to do. I'm also reading The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg, which is like this futuristic Disney where there are these like hybrid humans who are part android, part human, and they're playing the parts of the princesses. And this is told through dual timelines, and one of those timelines is a trial where one of these hybrid princesses has been accused of murder. So I'm also enjoying that, especially because there is a character in here called Pania of the Reef, who I didn't think anyone outside of New Zealand even knew who she was. So I'm really excited that one of the princesses is a character from Maori mythology. I think that's really cool. Once I finish those 2, I'm also probably going to try and pick up Her Fearful Symmetry by Audrey Niffenegger. I don't know much about this yet, but once I read it, I will. And then, as well, we got to try and really pick up the pace this week. So at the moment I'm listening to the audiobook of Catching Fire. I should finish that today. I think I'll finish it today. And I am really enjoying it. If you don't know, it's the second book in the Hunger Games series. So you should know at least something about the Hunger Games if you're watching this. Then I also have the audiobook for The Bone Witch, which is for one of my owls. Hang on, let me check my spreadsheet. Oh, so The Bone Witch would be for A History of Magic, to read a book with a witch or a wizard in it. And then I also have Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. I'm not sure if I'll get to that one. I might at least start it, but I suspect it's a really long audiobook. Oh, that one's for Defense Against the Dark Arts. So, if I can finish all of that, I'll complete 5 more hours, I'll be up to 7. That's about halfway, which is the perfect position to be after the second week of the Owls. So fingers crossed I can actually achieve it. Right now I'm actually going to go and attempt to use the last little bit of purple hair dye I have. So I used to always have coloured hair, but recently, since I was looking for a job before this whole lockdown thing happened, I went back to normal coloured hair. But like, I'm going to be in lockdown for 2 more weeks, so I decided I really miss having coloured hair. I had this tiny bit of purple hair dye and I've added some conditioner in to like try and expand it a little bit. This brand of purple hair dye doesn't generally do much, last very well, or have much of an impact. So it's possible I'll put this on and you won't even be able to tell, but it's all I've got in my house and it's all I can get my hands on. So just for a fun experiment, we're going to try this. That's what I'm going to do now, and next time you see me, you can see whether it made any difference. Boing. So, I mean, it's done something. It's made my hair darker. There's some purples, especially these little grey bits have gone quite purple. I mean, it's about what I expected, probably better than I expected, given that particular purple hair dye brand. So, not mad about it. If you've noticed that my bookshelves look rather decimated behind me, it's because I am about to film a video for which I needed those books. They're all stacked here. I haven't filmed in the evening in a long time. However, today I tried really hard to run like a work schedule, because I know that once this lockdown is done, it probably won't be that long till I find a job. And I keep putting off getting into a work schedule, but it'll be so much better if I can get into that habit before I have the added stress of starting a new job. So I made myself do it today, and hopefully I can keep it up for more than one day, because so far this lockdown, every time I try to implement a schedule, the next day I don't manage to follow it. But we're gonna try. So reading, audiobooks, I finished Catching Fire and I was just really annoyed when it finished. I was like, that's the end? Even though, like, I should have known that was the end. I did feel like it took quite a long time to actually get into the quarter quell, which is what happens in Catching Fire, if you haven't read it. Basically another Hunger Game where all these district champions have to fight to the death. I definitely enjoyed it. Like, when they were interviewing the victors in the beginning, I almost cried. And then I was just listening to it at every opportunity I had because I was enjoying it so much. Maybe not as much as the Hunger Games. I think maybe I only gave it 4 stars, but it was still really good. Since I finished that, then I started listening to The Bone Witch, and I'm just not feeling very engaged with it. Like, where with the Hunger Games and Catching Fire, I was just listening to it at every possible chance I could. While I was doing housework, I would put it on and listen to it in little bits as I went. But with The Bone Witch, I just haven't felt like I wanted to turn it on while I've been doing other things. And even since I'm on my work schedule, I went for a walk this morning. I listened to it then, but then because it was raining this afternoon, I just ran around my house, which isn't really what I should be doing. I should be going out and walking in the rain because that's what I'll have to do when I go back to work. But I didn't do that. I just ran on the spot and watched BookTube rather than listening to my audiobook. So I don't know. I think it might take me a little while to get through, and I'm disappointed that I'm not more engaged. We've got this young girl, and she's like learning to be a bone witch, like a witch with necromancy powers. But I don't know. I just don't really care about what's happening. It doesn't seem that interesting. So that's audiobooks. As far as the kingdom goes, last night I got up to this page which has this random like photo of a car park in it, which I was not expecting, and that kind of stopped me for a moment. In fact, I think that's the main reason why I stopped there, because I was just like, I can't handle the fact that my book has a photo of a car park in it. So I am enjoying it, trying to work out what's going on though. I still don't really know what's going on. So I will continue more of that tonight. And then as well, Uzumaki, I read another 100 pages today. So I think I'm up to like 400 and something. And things are just getting more and more extreme. Basically, I don't think I talked what this book is really about. But it's like a town that's become infected with spirals. And these spirals are just having like bigger and bigger influences on the town in really disgusting and horrible ways. So I do think I'll probably finish this tomorrow in my lunch break. So that's my reading. We're making okay progress, I guess. I'm gonna go and do my filming, so I'll see you tomorrow, probably. The end of another fake working day. I will admit I was slightly late to work this morning, partially because I stayed up a little bit late reading this. Not too late because I was fairly restrained, but I am up to page 196. So quick maths, I think I've got about 130 pages to go. I am really enjoying it. It's kind of starting to get into all these mysteries around what's going on, so I'm really interested to see what happens next. I think tonight I'm going to have to do a big push to finish this for sure. Just got to wait for the sun to go down. I don't think I've really made progress on anything else. I haven't read Uzumaki. I read a little bit more of The Bone Witch, but I'm not involved yet. There was a storyline introduced where there is this boy who's wanting to become one of these witches in this world. Only women are allowed to be witches, so the main character, the Bone Witch, is kind of supporting him to try and become a witch through somewhat sneaky means. So that's kind of interesting, but it was a very small part of the story, so we'll see what else happens with that. Right now, I'm actually going to go and colour some of these. So our Prime Minister has set up this Easter egg hunt for Easter weekend. Basically, the idea is people print these out, colour them up, put them in their windows. I'm down a long driveway, so I won't be putting them in my windows, but I might put one on the letterbox, maybe a few other places sneakily. I think I'm going to colour a few of these anyway, because I've been really sad about missing out on the whole teddy bear trend. I've been really enjoying like seeing all the teddy bears in the windows, but you can't see my windows from the road, so I'm missing out. So I'm definitely keen get in on the Easter egg hunt. Okay, so I forgot to vlog again, but let me update you on some things. So I finished off The Kingdom, and I have to say, I liked it, but I think my problem lately with books that have like a mystery and you're trying to work out what's going on, I keep coming up with like really outrageous ideas of what the twist could be, and it ends up kind of hurting my experience, because then the twist can never be as far out as some of the ones I'm thinking of, because the ones I'm thinking of don't even make any sense, whereas the book is still trying to make sense. So then when they do the actual twist, I'm like, well, sure, that makes sense, but like, what if craziness? So I did like it. I think one thing though, I didn't think, like, it keeps flipping back between the court case in the future and then kind of the events leading up to it. And in some books I've read in the past where it flips back and forth in timelines, I felt like what was being revealed in the timelines would kind of relate to each other, whereas in this I didn't think it matched it up as well. But I do still think I really enjoyed this, and I think if you like science fiction with a little bit of a twist and maybe a tiny bit of romance, and you like the idea of a futuristic Disney with the princesses replaced with robots, then you'll probably like this. Although I have to say the ending made me suspect that there's going to be a sequel. I haven't heard anything about a sequel. It doesn't say anything about a sequel. But like, not everything was wrapped up, was it? I don't think so. So maybe we'll get some more of this in the future. What else? Audiobook-wise, so I finished off The Bone Witch. And what's frustrating is right near the end, something interesting did actually happen. I was finally interested, but it was like such a short bit at the end. And then it followed that up by like revealing some things in a very like matter of fact, like somebody just says, by the way, I was always this person. And also like the whole thing mostly is written in first person, but it did that thing where right at the end the main character revealed that they actually knew a bunch of things the whole time, they just hadn't told you. I never enjoy that. I'm like, if we're following your perspective, why wouldn't you tell us? Then again, part of this book is that it's like the main girl telling her story to this bard, and there are sections throughout the story again which are set in the future and it's her telling her story. Those bits, I still don't really understand the point of them. I guess it's to give you like some foreshadowing that everything's gonna go wrong for her, but mostly I didn't think there needed to be as much of that. I don't know. I mean, I definitely noticed. So after I finished off The Bone Witch, I started reading Ship of Destiny, and straight away I just want to listen to that all the time. I'm like listening to it while I'm doing other things. I'm so much more engaged, and there's so much interesting stuff that I've forgotten about that series. So then, knowing that I just never felt like that with The Bone Witch kind of shows how I wasn't as engaged with it. And it's frustrating because I know a lot of people really love The Bone Witch, so I don't know what I'm not getting, but I don't get it. Anyway, today is Saturday, and so I'm putting this aside as my fun day, because ideally when I go back to work, Saturday would be a fun day, not a catch up on everything I never got to during the weekday. So a fun day, that's what I'm going to have. I did spend most of the morning doing some housework and some subtitles, but I'm done with that now. Everything else on my list, except for one housework thing, but everything else on my list is fun stuff. So that's what we're going to do for the rest of the day. And the first thing on my list is to finish off Uzumaki. I have got, I think, 150 pages to go. Things are very crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So I am very excited to finish this off. It seems like they made me tired, even though it was good, but I'm tired. I feel like I need a nap. naps count as fun things. So I really like this. I will say right at the end there's like a lost chapter and then a weird like Junji Ito chapter. And I wish it had been like clearer that they weren't really part of the same story, like they belong at the beginning. But I understand it's supplementary material, so that's why it's at the end. But just needed to make it clearer, I think, that this is definitely the ending, because this is like an epic ending, and then the other stuff that happens just seems weird after it. Anyway, if you like really weird, kind of gross manga, then this 100% amazing. I loved it. The spirals just get so out of control and it's amazing. Anyway, I think it's either nap time or lunchtime. I'll work it out and then I'll read something else. Hi, so I just got megally distracted by organizing my Goodreads list. I still think that counts as a fun day activity because I like organizing what I want to read. So what I discovered though is I also updated the lists I have of the series that I am supposed to be reading and the ones that I have in progress. And I have not been doing very good with that, so I'm going to need to start catching up on some of those series. But anyway, right now I am going to read Two Hearts by Peter Beagle. It's this fairly short story on the author's website. He's actually the author of The Last Unicorn, if you know about The Last Unicorn. And I'm reading it for my Ancient Runes in the Owls Readathon. So I'll read that, tick off another owl. And then I think I'm going to go and watch Supernatural and maybe play Bravely Default at the same time, because my brother's going to get annoyed at me if I don't finish Bravely Default soon. And also I love that game. And also, like, I never finished off Supernatural and I want to. I think actually I'm going to go back to season 8. Seasons 1 to 7 I've watched a million times. I totally know those back and forth. But I think from season 8 I'm less clear. So if I rewatch from there, then I should be able to figure things out again. Also, I realized I have the DVDs, but my season 9 is missing. So I've messaged my sister to see if she has it. Hang on, my phone just buzzed. Maybe that's her replying. It is. She says, yes, I'm pretty sure we do. So maybe we'll have to try and arrange some kind of quarantine transfer so I can get that back. We'll see how well I go with actually getting through season 8. Anyway, on to fun.
I think Dad wants us to pick up where he left off. Saving people, hunting things, family business.
Oops, it's Sunday. So, you would have noticed yesterday after I read Two Hearts, I ended up watching the movie for The Last Unicorn just because it put me in just that mood for The Last Unicorn, made me so nostalgic for it. That was one of the first movies I ever watched as a child and it's just so lovely. And then the book, even though it's very different, it just has the same feeling, so I wanted more of that feeling after reading Two Hearts. Then I did manage to watch a few episodes of Supernatural. And I remembered I do know what happens in season 8, but I'm happy to rewatch it. Classic Sunday, my neighbour is mowing their lawns, of course, just as I go to film. Of course. Anyway, maybe you can't hear it too much. We'll hope. So then in the evening, after I finished all of that, I did pick up Her Fearful Symmetry. I am enjoying it, even though I'm only a couple of chapters in. What I will say is there's a chapter in this about this woman leaving her husband, primarily because he's very OCD and become very difficult to live with. And even though it's probably a very realistic, awful situation, the way it's written, I just feel like if somebody with OCD was reading that, they would just feel awful. Like it's almost written like we're supposed to be laughing at that character. I don't know, something about it just didn't really sit right with me, so I'm not sure how much of that's going to be in this book. We'll see where it goes. I guess it might redeem itself. I haven't got very far. Basically, there's this pair of twins who've been separated across countries. One of them is in her like 40s and she just died, and she's left her apartment to her nieces, which are like the daughters of her twin sister. Don't know much else, but I probably won't get to this until later tonight because I am right now going to go and spend the rest of the day editing and trying to get videos up for the rest of the week. So given that, I do think I'm going to finish this vlog up because it's not going to be anything more interesting for you guys today. But before we finish, let me just summarize where we're at with my owls. So I've got my spreadsheet here. So last week I had already got 2 owls, my potions, and my transfiguration. So then this week I must have gotten 4 owls. Let's see if I can remember which order I got them in. So firstly, I finished off the Bone Witch. Unfortunately, I didn't like it, and I'm really frustrated with myself about that. But that got me my History of Magic. Then I finished off The Kingdom, which I really enjoyed, although I think maybe it only got 3 stars, maybe just 4 stars. I did like it. I read it all in the evenings, so that got me my astronomy. And then I read Uzumaki, which I really loved. I gave it 4 stars, but maybe it deserves 5 stars. No, maybe not quite. I'm very, very stingy with my 5 stars, but I really loved this. And this was for arithmancy, because horror mangas are not something I normally read. Definitely not my favorite genre, but maybe I should read more of them because I did like this. And then finally I read that short story novella, Two Hearts, and that, again, I really loved it. And that was for Ancient Runes. So that means in total now I've got 6 owls, and I've started Her Fearful Symmetry, which is for divination, and I've also started Ship of Destiny, which is for Defense Against the Dark Arts. And I have to say, I'm really loving Ship of Destiny. Like, there's a dragon in it, and the dragon just sees herself as so far above humans, and humans are just insects. She refers to them as insects. She won't let them ride on her back, but she like kind of agrees, I guess I could carry you in my claws. She's just, the way that she talks to the humans, I love her so much. Because I just think if you're an amazing, powerful dragon, why would you think humans are worth anything? They're just a waste of time, right? Anyway, I really love it. And there's just so much going on in that series that I had forgotten about. There's so many characters. The one thing I do remember though, in the audiobook, it's a little bit hard because it jumps from one person's perspective to another person's perspective with a very tiny gap. And so if you're not paying attention, you miss that. And then suddenly things don't make sense anymore. And even characters that in the first book I didn't care that much about, now I'm like really invested in their part of the story. I'm so excited to see how it's all going to come together by the end of this book. So I'll definitely be finishing Ship of Destiny in this next week, hopefully in time for the reading rush, which is also next week. So that's all for now. I think I had a pretty good reading week actually. This whole month is actually working out really well for my reading, so maybe we need to have quarantines all the time. Let's not have quarantines all the time. Anyway, as always, thank you for hanging out with me this week. I hope that you're staying safe, looking after yourself, and managing to have as much of a good time as you can possibly manage. And I hope to see you again soon.